In truth, I would like to have thought I could have predicted the booby-trapped chest. But it caught me completely off guard. I was very nearly the late consulting detective Sherlock Holmes.
I'm sorry, early.
So you mean this autopsy report really is?
Yes, I took it from the lab, even though I knew it was very important.
Was there something in that troubled you? In it that troubled you, Iris?
Not exactly something that troubled me. Something I'd been looking for. When I saw this report, when I saw the writing in it, I knew it was Daddy's.
The writing?
Your father's writing? What do you really mean?
Oh, she's mute again. Slap her. Iris? There must be something that's hard for her to talk about. Forgive me for interrupting, my dear fellows. Where do you think you're putting your foot? Give it back. It is warming my cockles. Mr. Holmes, what is it? I feel as though the poor, unconscious gentleman on the settee has been somewhat forgotten.
Father!
Perhaps we should find our guest somewhere more peaceful to rest. Mr. Naruto? Me? Would you be so kind as to lend him your bed? We must do our very best to make him comfortable, I feel. Why can't we use your bed? Alright, of course. I'll help you carry it up.
So will I.
No, I can manage alone, thank you. You have tea to enjoy. We wouldn't want Iris's brew to stew. Just don't break out into song. Jeez, there's no better way to make the professor comfortable than dragging him upstairs like a trunk. Boom. He's like dragging him by the feet, and each step fucking hits his head. Perhaps that was deliberate. Maybe Mr. Holmes is making himself scarce to give Iris the chance to talk more freely.
We must use this opportunity to talk with Iris. And find out what's going on.
My eye is always drawn to this big metal chest that Mr. Holmes and Iris use as a coffee table.
Isn't it where Iris keeps her very important papers?
It is, so you'd think that they'd treat it with more care, really. But only the other day, I saw Mr. Holmes kick it.
Oh no!
I suppose something must have been frustrating him.
What a shame to mistreat the furniture, though. Was it damaged?
The chest was fine. Mr. Holmes was doubled up on the floor for almost 10 minutes.
Oh dear. That is a painful tale.
What say you, Iris? By the way, did you know that I'm a lawyer?
When I saw the writing, I couldn't believe it. I know that handwriting,
I thought to myself. Because it was the same as the writing you'd seen on your father's case notes.
Exactly. I was desperate to compare the two properly. I needed to see them side-by-side plays. I asked the doctor in the laboratory, but I was told I couldn't take the report away. And even worse, I was told that was the first and last time we'd be allowed to even look at it there.
So you decided to steal it.
Thoughts. When I compared the autopsy report with the case notes I had here, there was no doubt. The handwriting was exactly the same. It was Daddy's.
And the signature of the coroner at the bottom of the autopsy report read Dr. John H. Wilson.
So that's how I finally found out. I learnt Daddy's name at last.
So you know actually, yeah, that's right. You've actually seen her.
Well, you know your last name is Wilson, right?
Ever since then, I called myself Iris Wilson. And that's also when I had the brilliant idea of writing stories all about Daddy's exciting times with Hurley. I decided there and then I'd write the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Oh, Iris, I had no idea the stories had quite such a deep personal significance for you.
I can see why the autopsy report was so important to her now. And why she was prepared to break the law to get her hands on it. But what about my lawyer armband? What would you like to tell us about? Would you like to tell us about it, Iris? About your father?
I'm sure I told you before, didn't I? That Daddy used to be Hurley's partner. Stop opening the fucking evidence. Yes, and that note about all the cases they solved together are kept inside that metal chest. That's right. Hurley told me, you see. He said that Daddy's somewhere far away now, so we can't meet.
That's one way of describing it.
Then when I had to secretly unlock the chest and read through the papers inside, I started to build up a picture in my head of what Daddy must be like.
Well, that's only natural.
You're just like any other girl of your age. Haha, discovering the murder of your father.
What?
Typical 6-year-old behavior.
What?
What? I read that Daddy was professor of medical science, so I studied and took my degree too.
Yeah, that's only natural, I suppose.
In that respect, you're not quite like any other girl of your age, though. But there was only one thing I could never find out. Daddy's name.
Ah.
His name wasn't anywhere on any of the notes that he'd made about his work.
Name.
Who? What's a mummy? But then one day...
That's what happened, is it? When you saw this autopsy report, you finally managed to work it out. Is that right?
Yes.
So it was the handwriting in the report that caught her eye. I must apologize, Iris. This is really all my fault.
Hurley?
I made a promise, you see, that until the time was right, I'd keep the details about your father a secret.
I know. Oh, I've been very naughty. I'll take the autopsy report back to Dr. Gorey and apologize, I promise.
No, I don't think you should. We'll go together, I think.
Then let me look after it for you until we get there.
Clint's autopsy report has been entered into the court record. Haha, I'm gonna read it. Fuck you.
So we'll let you read it.
Clint Van Zeeks, male, age 33, nationality British. Time of death, 31st of May between 9 p.m. and midnight. Observations, death from a single stab wound to the heart. Other superficial external wounds indicative of a duel. Additional notes, recent scarlet ink stains visible on the little and ring fingers of the right hand. Little and ring fingers. The pinky?
Yeah, so like your...
Da Vinci? No documented corresponding ink was found. Autopsy findings, vital evidence recovered on the victim's stomach vital evidence recovered from the victim's stomach during autopsy. Credit to Inspector Gregson for petitioning so doggedly for the autopsy procedure. No internal trauma noted anywhere in the body. There was something that Gregson wanted something that he ate.
Probably the paper.
What did Clint eat? Also, we never got a chance to look at the chest. Let's have a look inside. I'm sure that's not important.
have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind. Golly, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force. I wonder how it happened. Ooh, look, there's something inside. Ooh, let's see. It appears to be a passport authorizing him to travel overseas. Was Inspector Gregson about to go on a trip abroad then? Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh! What is it? It was for travel on the 31st of October. Just 1 day before the incident. He was 1 day away from retiring! What? Really? Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered?
I was going to water my herbs, I think. I'll see you all later.
Wait, what are you gonna water them with?
My tears!
Careful, that might be too much salt.
Poor Iris, she must be feeling awful, just like her plants will. I know Mr. Sholmes is here for her, but still.
Ah! My dad's gone.
What? Yeah, we took him upstairs.
What? How? What's the meaning of this, Mr. Sholmes?
Mr. Sholmes?
I escaped out the window. Oh, dear me. So, you've noticed, I see.
But that would mean...
What on earth's the matter, Mr. Sato? You've turned as white as a sheet. A sheet that Rinosuke Naruto myself slept in.
It's his autopsy report, Mr. Naruto, the one from 10 years ago. The writing isn't Dr. Wilson's at all.
Huh? What do you mean? How could you possibly know that?
Because he was a professor at the university, dummy! This writing... It's my father's!
Huh? Professor
Are they
Mikitoba's?
siblings?
They were switched at birth. Which is very strange considering Susato's 10 years older than her Iris.
Indeed, it's true. And now you know. My dear fellows...
No, I don't know anything! You know what, I'm screw capping that one. What on earth does all of this mean, Mr. Sholmes? Because the idea that's slowly forming in my mind is just too extraordinary to believe. Please! You have to explain! Who's your partner? Thinking about it, most of what we know about you, Mr. Sholmes, comes from the published stories of your exploits.
Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, written by Iris.
And we really have no way of knowing what's fact and what's fiction.
Most troubling for you, my dear fellow, I'm sure.
So what about this supposed partner of yours? Did he really exist or not?
Ah, you've come straight to the point, I see. It's taking you 2 whole games and you finally just asked it outright.
Please come straight to the answer.
But first I need to tell you the tale.
I'm gay. I cannot be straight.
Oh. Well, good for you, but that's really not the time nor the place for that.
I believe Iris explained it in one of her installments. He was a trusted comrade and the only person I could truly have called a friend.
And did this partner of yours truly ever make a record of all your cases? Are his notes really stored inside that metal chest?
Absolutely, my dear madam, absolutely. Why don't you look inside the chest for yourself?
Okay! Susato, no! So where's your
Tips
partner?
it over and then opens it.
Oh, I see. You are very smart. We rarely meet. You see, he lives on the other side of the world. Duh! But if this autopsy report and records of all your cases, your old cases, were penned by the same hand, and if the autopsy report was written, though not signed, by your famous partner, that's Ryunosuke saying this, sorry.
There would be only one logical conclusion.
Pray, impress me.
Your partner would have to be Yujin Mikotoba. In other words, Miss Susato's father.
Upon my word, Mr. Naruto.
Yes? Didn't I predict this, like, way back?
Yeah.
You're coming along wonderfully. You've hit upon the method at last. You finally grasp the art of deduction.
You mean to say...
You are almost there, but you're not quite correct. Fuck! Allow me to introduce you to my great friend and partner, Mikotoba.
Professor Mikotoba? Does this mean that you're the real Dr. Wilson? Then...
Oh, no, my dear. Dear, I'm still my old self, Yujin Mikotoba, your father.
Oh, of course. This is obviously too much for Susato to take in.
I must say, though, how my old friend has attained worldwide celebrity as a great mystery solver is the greatest mystery of all. I still remember the first time we met. Ah, pray remind me, when was it again, Miss Mikotoba?
16 years ago, Sholmes.
Ah, yes, 16 and a half years ago. I just arrived from Japan with Seishiro and Genshin. I was in search of lodgings close to the hospital, some comfortable rooms at a reasonable price. But the rents are devilishly high in that particular area. That's right, so I decided I needed someone to share lodgings and the expense, and was fortunate enough to be introduced to Sholmes, who found himself in a similar situation. I was a callow fellow back then, a mere shadow of the great detective you see now before you. I was working in the hospital's chemical laboratory at the time, indulging my curiosities for little gain.
You were taking random drugs?
Yes, that is true to my character, after all.
The situation of our cohabitation led to us pursuing cases together, you see. Hard to believe. It was a mere 6 years. We had a great many adventures. Oh, wait.
You lived with another man, Mr. Sholmes?
How dare you!
Oh, I thought Iris was 6. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
But in the last year of Mikotoba's stay in prison,
She's 10 years old.
Don't interrupt me again, Miss Susato. That in the last year of Mikotoba... What did I just say? In the last year of Mikotoba's stay in Britain, that most... Oh my, indeed. That most infamous of cases presented itself. Also, Mikotoba knocked some bitch up. He was a naughty, naughty boy, and he left Britain without taking responsibility for his penis. In the case which you've become rather familiar with yourselves, the Professor killings.
After the trial, Seishiro and I were summoned back home. Hardly surprising, given the circumstances.
So there you have it. And as you know, all the details recorded by my trusty chronicler remain in that metal chest.
This is just amazing. Professor Mikotoba really is Mr. Sholmes' famous partner.
So then who was Dr. Wilson?
That was your father, Susato.
My dad's dead?
Goodness, my dear, what a cutting look.
As your daughter, I'm very proud to learn that you were the great detective's great partner. But nevertheless, there's another mystery that I really must ask you to explain now.
And that is?
You know very well what it is. The unresolved matter of Iris's father.
Ah, of course. I'd almost forgotten about that one. Dots? I should have seen this coming, I suppose.
Iris told us that all the notes about the great detective's adventures that are in that metal chest were written by her father. Isn't that correct, Mr. Sholmes?
No, that is indeed what I told young Iris.
But if you're Mr. Sholmes' partner, Father, and you wrote all those case notes, then Iris' father must be you.
Ah. You see, my dear, I have an issue with that. I'm a virgin.
Daddy?
Upon my word, Miss Susato, you are coming along wonderfully as well. You two have hit upon the method at last. You finally grasp the art of deduction.
What? What you've always told me, Father, is that my mother died when I was born 16 years ago. And you left me in grandmother's care whilst you embarked on your great study tour of Britain. And I've always accepted that. But all this about Iris...
There it is. Susato-san's ice-cold stare.
No, now hold on a minute. It was very complicated. I mean, it's really not what you think.
Then perhaps you'd like to explain exactly what it is?
There it is. Now the guy goes from ice-cold to red-hot just before she...
No, really, you've got the wrong end of the stick. Sholmes, say something, man.
I am scared.
My butthole is clenched quite tightly, my dear, and I cannot move a muscle. So, let us move on to other matters in the meantime, Mr. Naruto.
So this autopsy report was actually penned by Professor Mikotoba then. But that makes no sense. It's not possible, surely.
Not possible, my dear fellow. Pray, take a deep breath and think again.
Yes, you're right. In some ways, it actually makes a great deal of sense.
It does?
10 years ago is when Father returned to Japan after his extended study tour in Britain.
And prior to his return, where was Dr. Mikotoba engaged?
He was engaged?
To when's the wedding?
He was an assistant in Dr. Wilson's laboratory, learning about forensic science.
And as an assistant, he would have aided with the dissection work, making detailed notes, which would be assembled into the full autopsy report.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense now, because if Wilson was the person in charge of the whole laboratory, then his name is on the autopsy report. He took credit for what would have been Mikotoba's work. Which I don't even think is like a what's the word? It wasn't even meant in a
In a bad way.
Bad way. It's just something that happened back then.
Once the work was complete, the head coroner would check the contents and put his signature on the document, as I have just described above the game.
In other words, the only writing of Dr. Wilson's in the report would be his signature at the end.
I see. So Iris got the wrong end of the stick, you mean? She saw that and assumed the whole report had been written by Dr. John H. Wilson.
Which is very understandable, of course.
Considering no one told her shit.
What a complicated situation.
Hey, Iris, we found your dad. Turns out he's not dead. Yay!
And we found your sister.
I changed clothes. That's quite enough, my fiery fellows.
Mr. Sholmes, when did you get all dressed up?
Whilst I don't like to interrupt this exciting exploration of the past, Mikotoba and I have an urgent matter that requires a short excursion.
But it's very late, Mr. Sholmes. Where must you go?
To the pub.
Why, my dear madam, is that not obvious? The strip club! The music is quite loud, madam, and where have your clothes gone? This seems like a mystery that can be solved by a great deduction. My partner and I must pursue our natural enemies, so get your coat, Mikotoba. The game is afoot.
But Sholmes, I really must give Susato a full explanation, I think.
No! Our carriage awaits downstairs already.
He just waves his hands in the air as he runs away. You haven't changed one iota, have you? I mean, really, I visited our home after 10 long years, and when I opened that chest in a fit of nostalgia, I quite inexplicably passed out. As if that wasn't enough, when I eventually regained consciousness, I plunged straight into all this.
Father, please. Go with Mr. Sholmes.
No!
What?
I have no doubt that whatever happened, you were acting in everyone's best interests. I trust you, completely, even if you did cheat on my mother.
Sure, that's what we'll go with.
And sending the great detective and his partner off on renewed adventures together is more than I could have hoped for in my wildest dreams.
Very well, then.
Suspicious.
We'll speak again later.
No, they're gone. Let's go through his shit.
So I believe your own work is done for the day. I wish you the best of luck for tomorrow.
Yes, Mr. Naruto. Good luck in battle, and in reaching a decision. A decision about whether to go back to Japan, I suppose.
So much happened that day that I barely knew what to do with myself.
Longboat, but in bridge form.
It would only be later that I'd come to realize how amidst the chaos I'd unleashed were all the clues I needed to finally unearth the truth, and that all the turmoil was necessary to give me the resolve to see everything through.
That's the name of the game! And
We did it!
We beat Chapter 4. Now on to Chapter 5!
Oh, good heavens! The final case! Resolve of Ryunosuke Naruto!
What's this? Oh.
Alright!
God, I love the artwork. It's been so long since we looked at any of these. Start playing them for them the start of this episode? Sure, why not?